Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another episode of the Chocolate Shake. Inshallah, today I'd like to read from you an ayah from the Quran to set the stage for some things that I want to say about our social and political atmosphere at the moment. So I'll read the ayah and then I'll lead into what it is I want to say for today. Again, this is Surah An-Nisa from the Quran, which is chapter 4. And I'll be reading from ayah 104 or verse 104. And it says, "Do not falter in pursuit of the enemy. If you are suffering, they too are suffering. But you can hope to receive from Allah what they can never hope for. And Allah is all-knowing, all-wise." And I'll stop there. So what is this verse saying? It's telling us that whatever we do in life, we have to realize, especially when you have a real enemy on your backside, right? So when you recognize that you have an enemy, sure enough enemy, it's telling us that whatever they're doing, that we have to counter it to stop it. We can't just lay down like a rug to your enemy and let them run all over you and run all through you, right? We can't do that. Otherwise, everything that you believe in and everything that you're about will be totally destroyed. It will be wiped from the planet Earth. And if you don't think so, all you have to do is look at all the places around the world right now, all the hot spots where there are battles and wars going on. And you can see what men would do to other men if they get the upper hand over them and they want to force their way against those people. If they're not righteous people, if these people are oppressors, right? They practice dhulm, we say in the Arabic language. These people who are line crossers, habitual and perpetual line crossers. They will bring whatever they have by way of hurt, harm to you, and they will do whatever they have to do to you so that they can get at the top of the mountain, so they can take your natural resources, they'll take your women, they'll take your homes, your land, everything, right? And we've seen this from the colonizers in the past. So even today, we still have colonization going on. And if you lay down to these people and what they're doing, then they will take your land. They will take your resources. They will take your women. They will take your children. They'll take the shirt off your back if you let them. So we have to mount up a defense against the enemy, right? So this is what Allah is telling us in the Holy Quran. And if you're not Muslim, then you can apply this to your life the way you have to. But we're told no matter what it is that our enemies are doing, that we ourselves have to be steadfast in staying on them and countering whatever it is they're throwing at us. Whatever they bring, we have to be ready for them. And we have to bring something to the table to neutralize them, right? To neutralize them and ultimately overtake them if they're keeping to their immoral ways. If their immoral ways or their unethical practices harm our lives, then we have the right to push back and repel it by all means. So this is Allah telling us to do just that. And when we know that our enemy, or we know that we're tired, right? When you just get tired, like right now, what's going on with the Trump administration and how we're getting all of this information that's coming out of the White House. And I believe it's designed that way to overwhelm, right? The information that we're getting from the news cycles is just overwhelming. Even myself, I can't deal with it. I have to take bits and pieces of it, and then I have to walk away from it. I have clients and I have friends who always want to engage with what it is that's going on in the news cycles, and especially with these politicians and the politics of America. And I tell you, it can be quite overwhelming. So for me, I have to back up and I have to clear my mind, clear my conscience, and I have to clear my heart of it. And I always wonder if some of my loved ones and friends believe that I'm staying away from it or staying away from them with it because maybe I'm irritated with my friends themselves, but it's not about my friends. It's just about the news and how it is that I look at the world. I will not let these people overwhelm me, right? I stand 10 toes down in my own philosophies. And one of those things is to know how to place things in my life, right? Know how to place this news and this information that is designed. I believe it's specifically designed by the Trump administration to overwhelm. This was a tactic that was used by the Nazis back in the 1930s and the 1940s. You overwhelm your population with, or the citizenry with a bunch of information. The people get caught up in being overwhelmed. They don't exactly know what's coming at them. And while you're hitting the population with 10 things, really you're aiming at 2 to stick, right? And so because you have so many bullet points going on and the people are so overwhelmed, they're kind of missing the 2 things that you're really aiming at to get through. And I believe this is what the Trump administration is doing, Trump administration 2.0. So I refuse to play that game, and instead I try to adhere to what it is that Allah tells us in the Quran Kareem. So when these people make their moves and they tire us, then we have to realize that, hey, be smart about how it is that you defend yourself, even when you start to feel yourself weakening, right? So Allah tells us, stay on their backside, stay in pursuit of that enemy, because when we feel weak, they also feel weak. When we suffer, they also suffer. This is what Allah is telling us. But the difference between the 2 sufferings or the 2 peoples is that the believing people have a hope in the akhirah, right? We have a hope in the next life. We have a hope in something that is greater and beyond ourselves, that's greater and beyond the circumstances that we immediately find ourselves in, that there's something on the other side. You just got to keep pushing on through. So we have that hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is God highly glorified as He. Where the disbelieving people, they don't have that hope, right? The only hope they have is to steal your shirt off your back, to steal your land, to steal your woman, to steal away your children, right? To steal away your natural resources and do the things that colonizers always do. So this is why we have to be not only intelligent in how it is that we, pick from what it is that we're being thrown at by the enemy, but we have to also be intelligent about being strong and not allowing ourselves to believe that whatever they have as the enemy is so strong, so smart, so slick, so well put together, that our enemies somehow are these immortals or super people. They're not. They're just regular behind human beings, just like the rest of us, who, if they are cut, they bleed, right? Everything that happens to you happens to your enemy. There's nothing super about them, right? They're just like you. The difference is we have belief in Allah, and this is for the ethical people. If you're a Christian, you have your belief in God and Christ. If you are Buddhist, you have your belief in the great Buddha, etc. But the point here is we have belief in something that's greater than ourselves. So we have to get at it and get down on these devils when they start to come at us. It's just a defense mechanism. It's the way that you defend yourself. And we as men, that is absolutely what it is that we need to be doing. We have to defend ourselves. We have to defend our families. We have to defend our natural resources. We have to defend the things that Allah gave us and ours. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I read this Quranic ayah today, or this Quranic verse, so that we can have something to kind of chew on and understand that whatever we're seeing out here from the enemy, don't let it wear you down. Or I could say it this way: if you're being worn down, know that they too are being worn down. If you are suffering any hardship, know that they too are suffering, and that we have to make them suffer if they make us suffer. And we have to stay on those backsides till we neutralize them or we overcome them. All right. And next, because I'm already going close to 10 minutes, I don't want to be long, I want to speak about what's going on with the rollback of the DEI program and Target. So I did some homework on it to see what Target was. And as of November 2024, they had already taken a severe beating in their third quarter of 2024, losing about $15.7 billion, mostly due to the ports being threatened to be closed. I think the ports did close for some time, right around the time that Trump and Harris were vying for the presidency. Right about that time, the ports were closed. And there were threats of the ports being closed for some time longer. Well, in that period, Target lost about $15.7 billion. On top of the fact that a little while before that, they also had some back and forth with the conservatives and products that they were selling in their stores that people, I guess, would say that these are products that are assigned to the queer community. When I say queer community on this channel, I'm talking about all those people who are outside of the heterosexual norm, people who practice sexualities that are outside of the heterosexual norm, okay? So the conservatives in our country, whether they be politicians or the people themselves that actually are shoppers, they target about them having these products. And Target responded. And I guess they weren't satisfied with the response. So say they lost some money there. And they started to pull some of the products off, that is Target, started to pull some of the queer community products off of their shelves, trying to satisfy the conservatives. In the interim, the queer community, they fired back. So they started to say, oh, okay, if that's what you're going to do, then we won't support Target. All right. So all of that was going on back in 2024, and some of it got past me. I'm not a member of the queer community, so some of the things they engage in, it just don't hit me, right? Unless it comes through the news or I get it through some other way. I miss it. So I missed that last year. But I do realize that because of the conservatives pulling back and the queer community pulling back and what happened with the Port Authority, their Target lost $15.7 billion. That's a lot of money, right? So when they came out of ending last year, they didn't do too well. And some of their shareholders started to say, wait, hold up. Part of the reason why we lost so much money is because of you pulling products off the shelf from the queer community. And they didn't like that. So there was a lawsuit filed. That's one lawsuit. Now, here at the top of the year, in January and into February 2025, Target now decided they were going to also, because of pressure from conservative politicians and conservative buyers, they were going to pull their DEI program, that is diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. When they pulled those programs, when they made the announcement, then yet again, Black people said, wait a minute. They're like pushing back a promise that they gave us of $2 billion and opening up ways that they can get more Black managers, Black workers, and kind of let Blacks get to the top, women get to the top, people in the queer community get to the top in these programs. As we said before, and I'm not ignorant about it, we do have white women who are always the best beneficiaries of these types of programs. Let's be very clear. DEI programs and programs all the way back to the civil rights movement that were designed and developed to bring Black Americans into the middle class. Let's be clear that these programs are basically usurped by white women, and they have always been the biggest beneficiaries. Then after them, you might have the queer community. And then after them, you'll have maybe the Latino community. Then after them, here come the Negroes, right? The Black people who those programs were fought for and basically designed for back in the late 60s and early 70s. But we are the ones who are now almost at the bottom of the list of those who benefit most from it, right? We did all the work. We put in all the sweat. We put in all the blood and the tears. But yet still, this country shows us our value, how they value us, right? Black Americans have no value in this country. They just don't value us, right? We have to fight for every damn thing that we get out of this country. The point being made here, brothers and sisters, is that right now, black folks said, okay, well, if that's what you're going to do, just as the queer community handled you in 2024, then we will join them and we'll say, okay, we'll pull back. All right. So now, as a response to that, Target then has said, okay, well, that's fine. And now they started to drop black vendors. So I had to do my homework to check on that to make sure that was true. And I found that it is in fact true. Now black vendors are coming out all through social media saying that their products have been dropped. They're saying they have warehouses now backing up with their products because Target's not taking them. So now this is a reality. And that has made their shareholders even more nervous. So now the shareholders are like, wait, hold on, wait a minute. Now they have a second lawsuit against Target, okay? And this particular lawsuit is aiming directly at how black people have been handled, all right? So now you have two lawsuits against Target, and you have a loss of $15.7 billion as of last year. Now, Target sales have fallen another 22% and then another 12% in the last previous months, as I understand it. So they are taking a beating. They think that 12% drop was in direct correlation to what it is that Pastor Jamal Bryant is doing here in Atlanta with his church and with his ministry. So thank Allah for it. We need to join the brother in his 40-day fast against Target and make sure that we don't spend one dime with them so they can see the impact. And I think he said Walmart and McDonald's and some of these other companies they're next. And I read just last night in Forbes and in one of the other diversity.com where they're speaking about how it is that McDonald's already and Walmart already are getting ready to make some changes, right? They're looking at this and now they have become frightened by the loss of money and how Target is getting beat up. So they're paying attention to see if they need to go back to their DEI programs. So this goes to show you in America what it's all about. America is not a country, right? We don't have love for each other as countrymen and this type of thing. I never saw that in America. What America has love for is money. Americans love money. They love material. They love money and things that can give them a certain type of economic power. That's what they love. And that's the thing that brings people together, right? It's through the class and through the money. And that's an ugly thing. Unfortunately, you would hope that other things would bring the country or make the country more cohesive, but it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm almost 60 years old and I hadn't seen that in America yet. I had prayed for that and wished for that. I thought by the time I had gotten this age, when I was a young man, that America would be a better place, have a better feel about what it is to be an American. But now I'm pretty sure that this country is locked into istidraj, as I spoke about in another video. Istidraj. Istidraj is a concept from Islam, meaning that Allah gives you all the rope that you need to hang yourself once Allah realizes that, you're just playing games. You're not trying to better your situation. You're not trying to better your life. You're not trying to better your women, your children, your community. You're not trying to better the people. You're not trying to better your world, right? You're out here being unethical and immoral and acting like an uncivilized beast. And this is what Allah gives you back when you act that way, okay? You get istidraj, right? You get this ability to think that you're doing well, because when you look around, everything looks fine. We're buying cars, we're buying homes, the economy looks good, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, you don't realize that slowly but surely, there's a noose being put around your neck for you to swing on. All right, I'm on social media. We have to be careful about how we speak on social media. They'll take you off of everything that you say out of your mouth now. Freedom of speech. A country that's supposed to laud freedom of speech. Okay. Well, this is what I wanted to say today. I'm getting close to 20 minutes and I didn't want to go over 15. So I think I've made my point. Understand, brothers and sisters, that what it is that Pastor Jamal Bryant and others are doing to strike back at these companies, this is what the moral people need to do. So kudos to Pastor Jamal Bryant He was once a client of mine and a friend of mine. I still consider him a friend. I don't know if he still considers me one, but I can still consider him a friend and a comrade. So we want to support what it is he's doing. If you're not familiar with it, look it up. He's doing a 40-day fast against Target, not giving them one single red penny of from a black hand. And then he's going to look forward at targeting some of the other companies. So, join this movement. Keep your head on a swivel. And whatever you do, we have to maintain our morality. We have to maintain our ability to fight and to live and to survive on what it is that we believe, our moral philosophies. Stay civilized, brothers and sisters. That's what I'm saying. If you appreciate this episode, do me a favor and like it. And if you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. Y'all take care out there. Peace.